All right, everyone. The other day, there was an uncomfortable, kind of sort of public spat between Donald Trump and Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. They were appearing together in hard hats, which is always funny when Trump, dons himself up. With the refurbishing of a Fed building, actually. And Jerome Powell, said, well, it's going to be like $2.5 billion. Trump comes out, countermands that, says, no, no, it's going to be north of $3 billion. And Powell seemed astonished at this because this is all public and live, actually. And then Trump continued to disagree with him on multiple occasions about various things, try to cajole him into lowering the interest rates and stuff like that. And then Powell was bemused, basically, didn't know what was going on. Trump later said he had no plans to fire Jerome Powell, and said, make America great again. Gave a generic Truth Social post, but the bad blood is obviously there. Trump is basically doing the Lyndon Baines Johnson thing right now with Jerome Powell. Drag him into a public situation and humiliate him, and then effectively challenge him to try to fight back. Because Powell is not in a position to criticize Donald Trump. He just basically stutteringly disagrees with him, and that's the only thing that he could do. It makes him look emasculated effectively. That was Trump's goal. I have no doubt that this was a setup, by the way, because presidents don't typically visit the Federal Reserve Building. The last time it happened was under George W. Obama didn't, Biden didn't, Trump in first term didn't. So this was a power move. This was effectively asserting hegemony on Trump's part, and it seems to have worked. As far as the interest rates themselves go, I tend to be Team Trump on this particular issue. You don't need to keep them elevated in any way at this point. He thinks that it'll unbridle the economy, so you get more investment in and stuff. People know, oh, there's no interest on this shit, so and I'm going to go and buy a business or something like that. It's more complex than that. I'm being reductionist, but at the same time, that's basically the 001 summary of how the Federal Reserve and interest rates work. And personally, I don't even believe in central banking. I realize that it's intrinsic to certain aspects of the economy. I prefer an economy in which there's no debt at all for anyone, and people are just working and doing their thing and being left alone. This is a utopian proposal, not a pragmatic one. It's just what I would prefer in a society that I could myself structure. But they obviously don't like one another. Look at the body language between the two of them, if you don't believe me. Body language is something that is very important within political analysis. Sometimes you can tell somebody realizes that they're subjugate in the situation. And so they may sputter out mild complaint, but they don't dare to do anything more than that. This is basically what you're seeing with Powell. We've seen it before. You look at well, Marco Rubio on multiple occasions. Um, on occasions where Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi appear together. You know that Nancy Pelosi is in charge. It doesn't matter if she's minority leader and he's majority leader of the Senate, he's still her little bitch. He's like a little puppy dog that she trots around. That's why she always she has berated him before effectively and made him feel like less than a man. That's because she's an egotistical ice queen. In Donald Trump's case, he's an egotistical corporate magnate. Of course, he's going to assert hegemony over Jerome Powell. He's trying to actively convince the Fed to change its policy, something again which presidents typically do not do, not to this level. Like they may weigh in and say, well, I think it might be a good idea to lower interest rates or raise interest rates or whatever they want to do. But you typically don't get this level of obvious public animosity, uh, antipathy, in a public scenario, certainly, or in general within politics. Normally, you would expect that the president would summon the Federal Reserve head to a private meeting. And then they might dress them down and say, like, look, what are you doing? You're going to destroy the economy. What's wrong with you? That's normally what would happen. That isn't Trump's forte. Trump's forte is getting someone into an uncomfortable situation, dressing them down, ritualistically humiliating them, and then expecting that there's a higher possibility that they will go along with his will. It's exactly what happened here. By the way, let me tell you, it was friggin' funny. I enjoy it. I might have to watch the video again later, actually, because of how humorous it is. We haven't had uh, a leader for some time that has been able to do this sort of thing. The closest that you get, other than, Trump's first term, you certainly don't get it with Biden. Anytime that he tried to berate a reporter or something like that, it just came off as angry old man yells at clouds, basically. I guess the last one that kind of sort of did on one occasion, this is an irony, by the way, given one of the charting songs at the moment, was Kanye getting referred to as a jackass after he took the microphone away from Taylor Swift that one time. That was Obama's quote. Otherwise, you don't have many modern examples of presidents that engage in this kind of behavior. It's funny, it's effective, and probably the interest rate should be lowered. So, yeah, Trump, I think, came off on the upper end of this one. He got the lollipop, Jerome got the fuzzy end of the stick. That's about all. Peace out.